Hey West volunteers, the Lay Leadership Development Team has asked me to talk with you about term limits, something that they're starting to introduce with the volunteer job descriptions that so many of you have filled out. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much for doing that. We are really excited about the way that volunteer job descriptions can help us to standardize what our volunteers are doing, help our volunteers understand what they're signing up for, and ultimately help you to reach more volunteers and engage them in the important work that you do. So I'm very appreciative of that. One of the things that we got back with those job descriptions was understanding that the majority of our teams and committees really don't have term limits. And so the lay leadership folks have asked me to talk about term limits a little bit. I think one reason we don't have them is that we frequently think that term limits will make it hard to retain members, right? We'll come to the end of the term and they'll go off, and now all of a sudden I have to recruit new members, and recruiting members can feel like a hassle. So what I wanted to share is my experience that term limits actually can increase engagement with volunteers with your team. It helps people have a sense that they're not signing on for life. You know, that they've got a year with you and then a chance to reevaluate, or 2 years with you and a chance to reevaluate and decide, do I want to re-up, which often they will, or am I ready to try something else in the community on for size? It makes it easier for you to have that conversation with folks who maybe weren't the perfect fit for your team as well. It gives you a natural point to say, you know, do you want to continue, or is it time to try something different? And ultimately really increases the sense of the volunteers and the team feeling like they're a great match and they're intentional about being with each other. Different teams and committees might have different term limits, so something that's easy to plug into, like say ushers, might start with a 1-year term and then always an opportunity to re-up, and some folks might re-up many years in a row because they love that opportunity so much. Something that has a deeper connection for its members, say the Adult Education Council, might have 2-year term limits perhaps, because you really need to get to know the work over time, and you need the 2 years on there to really get to know that. The board, for instance, does have 2-year term limits, and most folks will stay 2 years and then frequently re-up for another 2. I hope that you'll consider term limits for your volunteer job descriptions, and I'd love to talk with you more about how they really can lead to increased volunteer engagement and involvement. Thanks, and thanks for everything you do for WES.